Taking a little break from coronavirus at the moment to produce a slightly different video about another important topic about a viral disease that I've also spoken about quite a bit, social engineering. Now, there's been a huge dust-up that just occurred as a result of me posing a very specific question to a former associate who has betrayed me, hidden something from me, and I don't know why. I'm talking about Kevin Shipp, self-proclaimed former CIA officer. What happened was, like most people, the Out of Shadows movie came across my YouTube feed, and I was looking at it on April 11th and noticed it had a tremendous number of views. Now, I knew that Kevin had been working with Tiffany Fitzhenry in the creation of this documentary, so I just asked him, is this the Tiffany Fitz doc? Huge views. Is this the Tiffany Fitz doc? And people could see by the times on these messages, Kevin got back to me within about 30 minutes. This is a typical way that we communicate. He's not always responding right away, but he's pretty responsive. And certainly if a day or two went by that I didn't get a response from him prior to any of this, that would be pretty unusual. So he confirms that it's Tiffany's doc. And I asked him, do you find it strange that Tiffany doesn't associate her name or social media with that YouTube channel at all? How on earth did it accumulate 31,000 subscribers in 3 days? That's highly suspicious. And I said this not because I was suspicious specifically of Kevin, but I just found it weird. Tiffany's got a huge social media presence. I know she was working very hard on the documentary. In retrospect, I do remember Kevin saying something about a disagreement with Tiffany, but I didn't know that it had led to her removal from the film, and the whole thing seemed strange to me. This seemed like a point that Kevin could have just responded and said, yeah, remember, there was an argument with the producers. She left the documentary. I don't know how it got that many views or what's going on. Didn't say that. I really became suspicious when I asked him about this 40-second trailer. There was a trailer that featured Kevin, which, this wasn't the main movie. And obviously they'll probably try to ding my YouTube channel if I play too much of this, but I'm talking about this trailer here from the Out of Shadows official website. This is trailer number 3, released on April 8th, and I believe that's prior to the release of the official movie. People can see this is the full movie here. This was released on April 10th. So 2 days before the release of the movie, they come out with a short trailer to promote the film. That makes sense. This is all part of the marketing strategy of any movie. And this thing got 100,000 views in 3 days. So the follow-on views are much lower. Perhaps that's normal. Not really the thing at issue here. I simply asked Kevin, how does a 40-second video that features a micro fraction of your knowledge get 95,000 views in 2 days, but all of our videos struggle to get to 10,000 after a week? He simply says no idea. And we can see, we've got about 7-8 hours. Interesting time that I texted Kevin, but we've got about 7 or 8 hours here. So, that's the thing. Kevin usually would respond to a message from me within a day or so, typically less. So after he said no idea, I called him several times. You can see there's no text messages between April 11th and April 20th. I had been calling him, trying to reach him, and there was no response for 9 days. This is an extremely long time for us to not communicate, particularly if I'm trying to reach him. So this prompted me to ask if everything was okay on April 20th at 5:20. And when I didn't hear back from him for almost an hour and 40 minutes, I just asked him what was up. So he responded about an hour after that, saying howdy, which is a little bit, seemed out of character. Says he's just laying low for a while, been turning down all incoming interviews and just spending time doing farm work. As soon as the quarantine is lifted, we got to go to Maryland and do an on-site program about the Colby assassination. So he's talking about he and I doing another show in Maryland at the site where former CIA director William Colby, who Kevin had worked directly under and has shown me pictures of him with, that we would do a show over there. Now, given the strange vibe I was getting from Kevin and the fact that I hadn't heard from him for days, this response, it struck me as a veiled threat that we would meet in person in the spot where William Colby was found dead. It was in this moment that I decided I would not be doing any more programs with Kevin Shipp. He was just acting too weird. He had avoided me for 9 days, not answering the simple question of how does this 40-second clip get so many views in such a short period of time when similar content, that is content featuring Kevin Shipp, produced by us on a channel with many more than 20 or 30,000 subscribers that it had at the time, why is there such a disparity in the uptake of similar content? Maybe he had no idea, but I don't think that was the case. And I don't understand what prevented him from getting on the phone with me and saying, look, I'm not involved with the promotion of the movie. Perhaps they're buying views. I would even go as far as saying that if it was your marketing strategy to release 4 trailers and pump 100,000 paid views to those trailers to drive them into the YouTube recommendation engine, while it's not something that I would do, it's potentially a valid marketing strategy. I don't think it's illegal to buy YouTube views. I just consider it deceptive. And for me, given that the business model is to convert YouTube subscribers into paid customers on Subscribestar and Patreon, I don't think it makes sense for me to pay for fake views on YouTube. I also don't want to compromise the integrity of my show by pretending it's doing something that it isn't, so I just don't do it. Now, since Kevin wouldn't discuss this with me, we need some other way to determine if it's likely that these views are legitimate or not. So how can we do that? I mean, if you have access to this Out of Shadows YouTube channel, YouTube gives you some very detailed metrics about how long people are watching and various other things that help you gauge something called engagement. Now, there are a lot of channels out there that are very helpful to YouTube producers and allow them to evaluate their channel, to tweak it, and to improve it. This engagement is one of the most important metrics. The best ratio for measuring success, according to tubularinsights.com, and there are many websites that said this and similar things, the best ratio for measuring success for comments versus views is, comparing it to this 0.5%. That's basically the consensus of what the industry average is for engagement. And again, this is an average, so it can be lower than this, it can be higher than this, but we can start to get an idea for how much engagement a particular video is generating and compare it to that 0.5% for comments. And here we have 96 comments that have been generated since April 8th for 169,929 views. So, all right, 169,929. Let's come over here. Whoop. 169,929 views, okay? So let's take 0.5% of that. 0.5% would be half, 0.05% would be 5%, 0.005 will give us 5% of 169,000. Well, it looks like a video like this would expect 850 comments, but in fact, this trailer of Kevin Shipp, which was allegedly viewed by so many enthusiastic QAnon supporters or whoever likes this movie, has generated only 96 comments. That is substantially lower than 850. Well, let's round it down and call it 849. So that's nearly 1/10 the expected engagement. That's a strong indicator that the views were purchased, but real people watching it only generated 1/10 of the comments. Now, if we had 16,000 views on this video since April 8th, that might be closer to the performance of some other similar content featuring Mr. Shipp. I wouldn't be at all surprised by that. I would also add that a lot of the anonymous Twitter accounts that have been bashing me for going against QAnon by presuming that Star Wars might be as popular or more popular than QAnon, they've all said that I'm doing this out of jealousy. That's not it at all. This whole question was born out of Kevin Shipp's refusal to speak to me and refusal to even answer this very innocent question. I was just curious why Tiffany wasn't involved and why the views seemed so huge. He could have easily reminded me that there was an argument, there may be a lawsuit, he doesn't want to get involved in the lawsuit, and left it at that. We could have had a conversation. And people can tell by the nature of what I'm saying here in these tweets that my position on Kevin had changed when he suggested that we meet in Maryland to do an on-site program about the Colby assassination. Again, I consider this a veiled threat, and I'm not suggesting that Kevin was directly threatening to murder me. I'm just saying this seems like a CIA way of telling me to shut up and stop asking about this. So I told him it's become clear that he was avoiding me. I think I tried to call him again in the morning the following day after receiving this text to straight out ask him. So I said, it's become clear that you're avoiding me. I'm extremely disappointed in you. I had made up my mind that the intelligence assessment with Kevin Shipp was canceled at this point. He said, nope, I'll call you soonest, dealing with a heavy storm at the moment. I did not believe that. I do not believe that in 9 days Kevin Shipp could not find 5 minutes to talk to me about this to straighten it out so there wouldn't be a misunderstanding. I don't think he owes me any answers, but I do think that people should keep in mind that up until this point, Kevin Shipp and I had a very productive relationship. We were producing shows. I helped him build a monetized social media platform. Certainly his contributions helped me. So it didn't make sense to me that this was the conversation we were having. I went on to say, don't insult my intelligence, please. Again, illustrating that I've had it with this guy. I'm not interested in being polite. I'm interested in getting to the answer. So then he responded, and we can see he's responding within minutes here. So we can see the disparity between how he usually responds and how he was responding during this 9-day period where it seemed like something strange was happening. There are times that Kevin's had family emergencies and things. He lets me know about that, and we have clear communication and a clear understanding. He goes on to say, dude, if I was avoiding you, I would not be texting. I have not been answering any calls on my phone. I will give you a shout after the winds are gone. I don't understand why wind is preventing him from calling me. Was there a tornado? Then he, without me saying anything, he's on a bit of a texting rant here. He says, please don't insult mine. You're out of line. What was I out of line about? And then he says he tried to call me 3 times and the call dropped. I have no evidence of this. There are no missed calls on my phone from Kevin Shipp. I don't know what he did to try to call me that didn't go through, but the call dropped according to him. We have a frickin' leak in our roof and 50-mile-per-hour winds coming. So I guess the wind hadn't arrived yet. None of this made any sense to me, by the way. It all felt like deception. He runs an entire farm. I've not been returning calls from friends for over a week, and I'm tired of people calling about the documentary. So even before the documentary was released and I was asking him questions, he was tired of it. He knows that I'm a New Yorker, but now I've got him pissed. This is the meaningful text here. And this, I believe, is the reason why he wasn't answering my calls. Because he is aware that when I get the impression that someone is likely to lie to me, I record the phone call. And anyone who's not going to lie to me has nothing to worry about. But people who intend to lie, and people who know me and know that I'm in a regular practice of busting liars, might be concerned by the notion that I would record a call and perhaps ask him a question that he may not want to answer. And in that recording, if he's made to look foolish, or if I embarrass him, that could answer the question. His failure to answer a question could be the answer that we're looking for. So then he says there's no messages on his phone, but I don't generally leave voicemail messages, and particularly not for people that I'm in regular communication with, because in 2020, You know who's calling your phone due to caller ID, and leaving a message that says call me back is simply redundant. I said, what are you getting at exactly referring to this? Because I knew that this was why he didn't want to answer my call, for fear that he'd be recorded and revealed to be lying. Then he goes into this whole thing. If it's important, you'll leave a message. I get calls all day. I don't return them if there's no message. That's not true. Past, I've called him and not left a message, and he'll call me back or text back. Especially recently, I'm not doing any more outside interviews about the doc with anyone for the foreseeable future or making any statements about it. I risked a lot again with the documentary. It's break/farm time for me and just my Patreon channel. Nothing against you. We've done some great shows. I don't really care about his opinion of our shows. And although I agree we have done some great ones, we've done some poor ones as well. And I had become a little bit concerned about that. Then he says he still considers me a friend and an excellent interviewer, so let's just chill. A minute ago he said he was pissed. So I don't know why he's suddenly calm. And I inform him that I hadn't asked him to do any interviews about the doc, although I did find it curious that the one outside interview that he did was with a guy named L.A. Marzulli. Now, L.A. is a fine researcher. I saw a lecture that he did about some inexplicable things linked to UFO sightings, and I found it intriguing. I think L.A. is a decent guy. His YouTube channel has 115 subscribers or so, so it makes sense that Kevin would want to promote this documentary on a channel with that kind of subscriber base. What didn't make sense to me with that, I thought that was the first show he had done with LA. Maybe not the first, but I don't think he's done as many shows with L.A. Marzulli as he's done with me, and I don't think that L.A. Marzulli helped Kevin build a monetized social media platform in the way that I did. So again, it seemed strange that Kevin would want to give the benefit of this video that's bringing 10 million views to a video that he's involved with. Why promote that on another channel and refuse to promote it on Crowdsource the Truth? I don't mind, but someone who was part of a team and who recognized that I had helped him and wanted to help me, it seems like he would say, hey, why don't we promote this movie on your channel? I'm not jealous that he didn't. I'm just pointing out the anomalous things of our communications that really just got me curious and kept me asking these questions. So he said he'd give me a call tomorrow. Now he did. He called me and he left a voicemail. I could play that for everybody so that we can hear what was said, and it'll give you some further insight into how let's see, here it is.
Colin? Hey, Jason, this is Kevin calling. Just want to touch bases with you, let you know I'm not dissing you. I'll give you a shout back later. Hope you're doing okay, and hope you can get out of the apartment a little bit. But anyway, I will check back later. See you, buddy. Bye.
So there we had Kevin telling me that he was going to call me back later. If we're playing by this game that we strictly adhere to voicemails and instructions given to each other as to when to call back, I should be waiting for him to call me back based on what he just left in that message. Now, that message was sent April 24th at 10:38 a.m. As I recall, I was on a show or perhaps speaking to someone else on the phone, so that's why it went to voicemail. But before I had a chance to get a call back from him, I woke up the next day. It was a Saturday. And at 8:47 a.m. on Saturday, pretty early to contact someone, even a friend, Kevin says, hi, tried to call you, left a message. I won't be doing any more interviews with Crowdsource the Truth for the foreseeable future. Congratulations on your YouTube subscribers and Patreon followers. I wish you all the best with your program. Please stay in touch. Now, it's important to note that Kevin had not been invited to do any more interviews on Crowdsource the Truth at this point. So this is a little bit of a you can't fire me, I quit text. But the point is, Kevin was refusing to answer this question, which was basically, how did these videos get so many views in such a short period of time? And why is the engagement so far off? This is highly suggestive that views were purchased for this. Kevin not knowing that is a possibility. that being something that was done with the intention of promoting the film is also a possibility. But his refusal to talk to me about it, the way that he avoided me, the way that he behaved in this text message and voicemail exchange, it just made me really suspicious. Let's compare a couple of other metrics. We can look at Star Wars. Here's the last Star Wars trailer, I believe, that came out. 42 million. Look at how many subscribers the Star Wars channel has. That's funny. 42,970,371 views since October. Now, this is extremely good performance for any video. And again, Star Wars is one of those things that from a pop culture standpoint, everybody has heard of this. My friend's 8-year-old kid knows all about Star Wars. My friend's 80-year-old dad also knows about Star Wars. Star Wars Baby Yoda comes on TV. Nobody's ever seen that character before. They still know you're watching Star Wars. It's something that a lot of people are familiar with, whether you like QAnon or not. Now let's see. This video has 42,970,000. Where's that calculator? 42,970,371 views, right? And we're going to multiply that by not 50%, not 5%, but 0.5%. This video would be expected to have, on average, 215,000 comments. It has 87. So that's 1/3. And we might have to do a deeper study to understand how videos with this extreme level of viewership perform compared to more average videos. But still, 1/3 of the engagement that would be expected. And you know what? It's entirely possible that Star Wars is driving fake views to their videos to put it into the search engine more. But here's 1/3 of the average engagement on a Star Wars video. And if we compare that to nearly 1/10 the average expected engagement, this is evidence suggestive of manipulation of the view number. Let's look at a video that is more similar in that it features Kevin Shipp. Now, at the time that this came out a year ago, I don't recall how many subscribers Crowdsource the Truth had. It definitely wasn't 103,000. We could look it up on Social Blade, but let's call it 50,000. Even if it was 20,000, whatever the number is, this video has 107,000 views on it. And that could be due to the fact that 3 notable individuals are in it: Kevin, John Kiriakou, and Bill Binney. I'll leave out any opinions of each of these individuals, but we can see on 108,000 views, this video has 868 comments. So 107,020 views times 0.0005. Whoop, is that right? 50%? 5%? No, that's a mistake. 50%, 5%, 0.5%. So this would expect to have, on average, 535 comments, but I guess this is doing better than average as far as engagement because people are in here commenting. And the reason why this engagement number is very telling is because it's real easy to buy a bunch of fake thumbs ups. It's real easy to have a bunch of empty computers watch a video, but you actually have to write sensible things in English to create a comment. So this is a way to gauge if a video is real or fake. Sorry, if a view is real or fake. And this is not proof. People get very stuck on this word proof. What we're doing right now is we're looking for evidence. And the evidence indicates that there could be some manipulation going on of some of these views. Let's take a look at our friend Liz Crokin. And I don't have any issue with Liz Crokin. I don't know her very well. I hadn't spoken to her in 3 years. She called me. And when I made the comment about Liz not exploiting her feminine appeal on her YouTube channel, I did not mean that to be sexist, and I apologize to anyone who may have felt that it was. I was simply stating what I believe to be a fact, that generally women who exploit their sexuality online get a lot of attention. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that is one thing that could explain a massive increase in views beyond subscribership. Back to these YouTube statistics, it's generally considered that when you take an average of all YouTube channels and all YouTube videos about whatever topic, Star Wars, Taylor Swift, Kevin Shipp, Out of Shadows, whatever, about 14% of subscribership is the view count. That's the average view count. That means some are much lower, some are much higher, but in general, you're going to get about 14% of your subscribers watching a video. And that means some people will be non-subscribers watching. You'll have less than 14% of the subscribers watching some videos. It's an average. So for 150,000 subscribers, I should be able to probably do this in my head, but that's not my thing. 150 times 0.14. So an average view count for a channel with 150,000 subscribers would be about 21,000 views per video. This is obviously going to be affected based on the topic, the guests, what's going on in the world. Certainly when the coronavirus outbreak began and I started walking around New York City documenting what was going on here, my videos experienced a real uptick in viewership because a lot of people, even people who were not subscribed to Crowdsource the Truth, were very interested in what was going on in New York City, so they were tuning in. People who weren't subscribers were tuning in, and the videos, particularly in the beginning of the process, were getting much more views than what was typically expected from this average. We can see a lot of these videos, 27,000 views from 100, that's above average. There was one that I did at Elmhurst Hospital that got something like 60,000 views. Where is that one? Well, people can go, here we go. So this one, I went to Queens, and this had been in the New York Times, so I guess a lot of people were interested in this. 69,000 with 993 comments. Let's check that. 69,000, what was it, 355? 69,355 times 50%, 5%, 0.5%. So 346 would be the average expected comments. This is obviously a much more engaging video than the average 993 comments. A lot of people are in there making comments. Now, it's not to say that there aren't trolls or fake accounts or people putting comments in there. I'm not accusing Kevin Shipp. I'm not accusing Liz Crokin. I'm not even accusing the producers of Out of Shadows of doing this. Someone else could be buying fake comments and putting them on there. I've spoken about that. That's happened to me, I believe. If people want to look at Crowdsource the Truth performance and look at the most popular videos, you can see what I'm talking about. When we come over here, and where is that? We can say sort by most popular. What are the most popular videos on Crowdsource the Truth since I began? Well, let's take a look. They remain this video with Field McConnell, which was interesting, but I don't even think the best video that Field McConnell and I ever did. This video with Quinn Michaels, these two, by the way, have been the top for a long time. And this is many more views than what Field McConnell usually enjoys even on his own channel. Let's check what the engagement is of this. Now wait a minute. 238.49. 238,049 views times 50%, 5%, 0.5%. So to even approach the average with that many views, this thing should have almost 1,200 comments. This is the first time I've ever done this, by the way. I've always suspected these were fake views. This thing is having 50% of the average expected engagement based on the number of views. This supports my feeling that these are fake view numbers. Now, I could hypothesize, I can speculate that someone wanted me to believe that Field McConnell was a person I should have on my show, because I'm motivated to have more people watch the show. If I have a guest on that gets a positive response in the form of a lot of views, it's reasonable to presume that I'll want to have that guest back. And people will recall that Field McConnell appeared on my show many, many times after this, until a few months into our relationship, he decided to turn against me, publish a completely false story that had no evidence to back it, and choose to tell people that I somehow disrupted Abel Danger after he told David Hawkins to go and do shows with me. That's interesting. Let's look at this Quinn Michaels video, which I also suspect has manipulated views. And I suspect that for the same reason, because Quinn and I became acquainted over YouTube. George Webb's associate Patricia Negron had facilitated the introduction to Quinn Michaels. I suspect all of these people are social engineers. So here we've got 222,746 views. What was it? 222,746? Is that right? 222,746. Okay. Times 50%. 5%, 0.5%. This video should have 1,100 comments on average, and it does. Perhaps these were real views. There was a time that I thought Quinn was actually my friend. That's no longer the case. But this is an interesting way that we can evaluate some of these videos. And again, this isn't proof, but it does beg the question, why was Kevin Shipp so opposed to speaking to me? And with Liz Crokin, when she called me, all right, so let's look at Liz Crokin's videos. The thing that's interesting about the Liz Crokin videos is that what I'm saying is, if you've got 150,000 subscribers, you can expect that we determined about 22,000 views on average. So if you've got a lot of videos that are exceeding those average views, what's the explanation for why all these hundreds of thousands of people who seem to be consistently interested in what Liz Crokin is talking about, why aren't these people subscribing? That doesn't make sense. It seems like if you constantly had 100,000, 400,000 people looking at your videos, they'd subscribe. And what I was saying about the lack of I'm not suggesting that Liz should be in a bikini or that that's the only reason people would look at her. But if you saw a YouTube channel with 150,000 subscribers and then lots of bikini videos, that might be an exceptional case where many more people are viewing the videos than subscribers. I see a lot of videos here on Liz's channel that are just getting so many more views than her subscriber count. It just seems anomalous. It's possible, it could be normal, but the fact that she doesn't have outstanding thumbnail graphics, Liz is a pretty woman, and I'm not saying that a picture of her is unattractive. I'm not saying that's the reason people would listen to her. I'm just saying, in a general sense, these images are all very similar. It's one person sitting in a room in front of a screen. It's not Liz in a variety of different locations with a variety of different people doing a variety of different things. Here she is with Mike Cernovich. He's a very popular guy. A lot of people pay attention to Mike Cernovich on the internet. I'm frankly a little surprised that this video has such low viewership when so many of these other videos that don't have remarkable names or titles have many more. I mean, these are random numbers in some cases that are getting huge views. Liz, update? The point is, this would be people who are familiar with Liz coming to her channel because they know her, they like her reporting, and they want to see what Liz has to say. It doesn't make sense to me that 2 times or 2.5 times the number of people who are subscribed to her would be listening to these videos. Let's just take a look. Let's look at the most popular one and see what the engagement is like. We don't want Liz to hit me with a copyright strike. So, boy, these numbers look remarkably similar. 483,999. So let's see, 483,999 times 55.5. This video should have 2,400 comments on it. And it's got many more. Perhaps these are real views. Out of Shadows brought these people here. So maybe it's true that QAnon is driving views to these things, but why are these Q people not subscribing to Liz? Why is Liz calling me and wanting to talk? She could not have possibly been surprised that I was going to record that call. And she revealed things that I'd like to ask her more questions about. If these are all legitimate views, I apologize for insinuating that they might not be. But again, I never accused Liz of doing this. I've just demonstrated a situation where outside parties might have an interest to do it. Frankly, people who have an interest in getting Liz to promote QAnon might put comments in there that say QAnon sent me here. There are a lot of Twitter comments popping up from people who allege to be QAnon followers, bashing me. And the thing that I'm getting at is you're free to follow QAnon. I'm not telling people not to follow QAnon. I personally don't follow it. And I actually object to a mindset that forces people into this collectivism. We saw that yesterday at City Park Hall, the collectivist thinking that causes the members of the NYPD to enforce an illegal, unconstitutional order from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. What I think we need in America right now are independent thinkers who are not afraid to question everything and anything. I'm not saying people shouldn't watch this documentary. I merely started by asking Kevin Shipp, why does this thing have so many views in such a short time? Why is it so anomalous, this trailer of you, Kevin, compared to other videos we've done of you? Why does it seem like the views are being purchased? And why are you so resistant to speaking to me about it that you would go to the ultimate extent of torpedoing a previously beneficial relationship that helped both of us to increase our social media reach, our monetized platforms? Why wouldn't you just get on the phone with me and explain, hey, part of the marketing plan was to buy a lot of views, to inject these trailers into the YouTube algorithm, to up the number of searches for the movie. We did the same thing with QAnon posts. We wanted to get people out there to know about the film. What we've learned today from QAnon people on Twitter is that if you go against that collective, if you even question it, you're going to get slammed, you're going to get insulted, you're going to get maligned, you're going to get pushed to the side. You're not allowed to question anything. And the people who follow QAnon, the people who immediately presume that Kevin Shipp is being honest and I must be a shill of some kind to even question him, you need to understand that you are falling for the same type of behavior that people who presume that the Clinton Foundation couldn't possibly be doing anything wrong. Bill and Hillary Clinton are beyond reproach. They can't even be questioned. This is a very dangerous philosophy, and people who think they're patriots should question everything. That includes the NYPD. That includes Marines who can't properly apply their personal protection equipment and aren't sufficiently trained to interface with the public when they are inserted into a civilian city in the United States. Everything should be questioned. People should question me. I'm not telling anybody to trust me. I'm not telling anybody to like me. I frankly don't care if people do or don't trust or like me. I prefer for people to like me because negativity is not good, but I'm just asking for people to look at data, look at evidence, and draw your own conclusions. I believe Kevin Shipp has deceived me, has lied by omission, and I believe he owes me and all of you answers to these questions. Why does it appear that the views have been manipulated? Have the views been manipulated? Let's have some transparency and talk about how this condition came about. Oh yeah, there's one more thing that I forgot to mention. There was a lawsuit against Tiffany Fitzhenry brought by Mike Smith. I just learned yesterday that lawsuit has ended, voluntarily withdrawn. We don't know why, but it was done with prejudice, meaning those charges can never be brought again. So was this another hashtag fake lawsuit brought about to maybe generate controversy around this movie and promote it somehow? Was it brought about to intimidate Tiffany? Was there a settlement? We don't know. The terms of the settlement might be confidential, but there are a lot of questions about this movie. And my initial question was just about this 40-second trailer of Kevin Shipp. The fact that I've gotten so much resistance to that question, it causes me to question the motives of everybody who doesn't want to talk about this. So maybe instead of hitting me with stupid, unfounded insults on Twitter, people should ask Kevin Shipp some of these questions. Send him this video. Tweet it at him. He's blocked me. Big, tough, brave CIA Kevin, he's blocked me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.